All right. So we're live.
We are.
Welcome, everyone. I am really excited because I asked one of my dear friends, Gaia, to come on and talk to me about something, one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. And we don't really have like a direction of where we're going to go, but we really just wanted to talk to you all about something called the bars, access bars. And I know if you follow either one of us on social media or in our lives, both of us talk about it often. And so I always think it's funny because I always think, do people really, I talk about it, but do people really know what I'm talking about?
I know the feeling.
So, and it's such a like it has been such a cool thing for me and personally for my life. And I just wanted to have the ability to come on here and just say to people like, hey, these are some of the things that I love about it. And I know you also facilitate a lot of bars classes. And I will say, Miss Gaia is from France. Um, and I think that's like the thing I want to start with is which is like a very non-traditional thing because usually we start with bars and we go, we talk about all the like benefits to your mental health and your well-being and your body. But like the other thing the bars actually were a doorway for me into is like this huge world I didn't know was out there. Like I'm from a very it's not a small town, but I'm from Washington State in the United States. I come from like, people who like there's a lot of people in my family that have never even left the United States. So the fact that I now like having been both of us are certified facilitators with Access Consciousness. We both facilitate bars classes as well. But that whole stepping into that world of doing this because Access Consciousness is a global company, I literally have people that I know and people that I call friends in all over the world. And like that would have never occurred if I hadn't found this modality and found Access Consciousness. So that's my first yay for
Well,
bars is
it's funny
knowing
you say
people like
this
that.
because I was thinking the same when we started. I was looking at you and I'm like, oh my God, right now she's in the USA and I'm in my home in France. And it's like, well, two world, two culture that are different,
Yeah.
and it's true, it's what you just said that I realized that also, having access consciousness in my life, I've opened my cultures. Like, I mean, I like you say, I know so many people around the world, and that has taught me so much because we talk so much with the access bars of your point of view,
Yep.
limitation, your how you conditioned as well by education or whatever, or your country, and so when you start meeting other people or even traveling, you start
Traveling. Yeah.
opening, you start like disconstructing some of the point of view you had, and you start seeing the world and what's possible with different eyes as well. So it's also very inspiring that way. Yeah.
It is. It is. And I probably like when I first chose it, I chose it for very different reasons. I was choosing it like from a very like this will help what I was doing at the time, which was being I was a birth doula at the time and I was like mind blown. This was going to really help my clients getting ready for birth, which is one of the biggest things that people can choose and do. And it really really helped, but then it's like it's also been something that I mean since COVID, my husband and I have been doing bars once a week every Sunday. That's the day we take, we do
I know
bars.
about it because when I tried to call her on Sunday for a work question,
Yeah.
she's like, I'm getting my buzz run right now.
It is
Okay.
my birthday. Sometimes I'll respond, but most of the time it's like that's the day to like kind of reset for myself. And that's another one of the things that bars is so brilliant at is because when you take, an access bars, the classes that we're talking about facilitating, they're 1 day class and you learn how to do the technique. And also, once you do that class, you can then, if you really get excited about it, like Gaia did, you can then take the class 2 more times and then you can actually facilitate the classes. So it's such not only does it open the doors for you to have like a bigger perspective of the world, like we both talked about, but it also like adds to your life in very strange ways. Things like I would never have thought that it would have added to my life in the way that it has when I first found it. Like I had very specific reasons why I chose to go learn the bars and used it in my own life. But it's that has changed. And that's one of the things that I don't know if very many people talk about it. Bars really just, you can apply it to anything and it makes it like greater, easier, um, more like, yeah, just greater and easier. Makes you that, makes your life that. That's really been my experience anyway.
Yeah. Mm. Well, with this, me too, because something that I really enjoy is that I knew I had, conditioning thing, like limitation point of view. But the thing is, I couldn't really say what it was. I'm like, I know somewhere, I know I'm judging myself highly here. I don't know where it
Yeah.
comes from. I don't know why. And honestly, I don't want to have to go through it. Like I was 17 years old when I actually met the bars. And when you're a teenager, you're highly judging yourself. Well,
No.
and and then just receiving the bars, like I kind of went with, you know what, I'm just lying down, and I actually realized that I'm still doing it that way, is that I don't know what I'm going to clear during the
Yeah,
session, but I'm
totally.
just ready for anything. If there's anything that can just go away, change, without me having to think about it, and I see just my life changing as a
Yeah.
as a witness of it, I'm like, I'm happy. So
Well, that's the tricky thing with like limitations is that you often don't realize you have them. Like
mm,
you don't actually realize that there's something going on in your psyche, whether it's a thought or a feeling or like, oh, well, this is how we've always done things. Like how many of us function from this autopilot of like, well, yeah, that's just how it is. And you don't have to have the specific, like, well, when I go into this session, this is what I'm going to do. I don't either. I am kind of like, whatever I can receive today, whatever I can start to have more space with, I will have that, because that to me is like so much. And I always do feel that after a bar session that I just have more space. And sometimes it's just that whatever was creating chatter in my head just like becomes quiet. And that is like such a gift, because prior to knowing the bars, I didn't have a way of slowing down the chatter in my mind. Like I frequently was anxious. I frequently had panic attacks. I could not get out of my head for the life of me. And, now I can just be like, I got to get my bars run. And I can just lay down and not have to think about it and just receive, and everything changes. And I love that. I love that it's so easy. And that's the other thing I want to say, like anyone can learn it. It's
truly, and
not hard.
no matter the age as well.
Yeah, like
Mm.
kids can learn it. Like people who've been here, for their whole lives can learn it. Like anyone can learn it. Like when I first learned the bars, like my whole family learned how to do the bars. And so we all trade bars, like my niece will call me up and be like, "Hey, can you run my bars? I really need my bars run." Or my mom and my brother, they trade bars a lot. And, it's like one of the cool things about bars is when you let go of your points of view about stuff, anywhere you've kind of projected that point of view into the world, that also gets a chance to change. So when you have family who you've grown up with, and I know you're close with your mom, Gaia, too. And it's like, family's interesting. It's like I'm really close with my mom too. And there are times where like we're so alike, it's like this. So, just trading bars softens it. It doesn't completely like, it's not like you get your bars run once and like your life is like completely easy and nothing occurs. Like life is very triggering. I mean, I feel like it keeps getting more triggering for people.
And
So
you everything around you too. Like, I mean, you must see, for people listening, is that sometimes you just enter a room and suddenly you're upset and you were not 5 minutes ago. Why? Because you're just aware of like something in the room, or like
yep,
someone, but we don't realize that often we're just aware and we kind of take it for ourselves. And that's something that I also learned with the bars, is that it's not because I'm feeling something that it necessarily means it's mine. And I actually then have a tool that in 1 second I can change it. And that's
yes,
also magical. That's what I call magical. Mm.
totally. Totally. And I mean, it's like, it's 32 points on your head. you lightly put pressure of your, fingertips on those points, and like you literally can learn it in a day, and you can apply it to anything, anywhere, anytime. And I know when I first learned it, I was like, because I worked with people, like I was a prenatal yoga teacher, I was a doula. So it's not like I wasn't like in people's spaces and like working with their bodies, but I didn't actually like I wasn't a massage therapist. I didn't work on bodies. Um, it doesn't matter. Like anyone can do it. Like you can have nothing to do. Like you could be a tax accountant and
And
learn
even
the bars.
you don't get energy at all, because we talk a lot about
Yes.
energy, right? And so then you're like,
Yes.
yeah, but I don't understand this concept. You don't need to. This is
Yeah.
pretty
No.
awesome. Mm,
Well, and I think it also opens the door for like you actually, because I think even though I mean, there were so many different things that I had like looked into and read books on, and like energy work was not unfamiliar to me, but it was always something someone else could do.
mhm,
It wasn't ever something that I could do. Like I could go to an energy worker, but I didn't consider myself one. And when I started, you know, getting my bars run and also started to facilitate the bars classes, I started to realize, hang on, I might be a little bit more aware of energy than I've ever considered, which was actually such a huge relief in a lot of ways to realize, like, oh my gosh, I am that aware.
mm.
Because, like you said before, so many of us are really, really, really aware, and we just think it's us. We just think we are tripping 24/7. 'Cause that's what I thought. I thought, God, I am. And I really kept like what I felt like was my crazy or my insanity really private. I kept it to myself, thinking that that would, make it better, but it just makes it, you just end up being in this little like room with yourself doing, like you said, a lot of judgment and, um, making, I made myself a lot of like different from everything and everyone in a really negative way that way. So learning that, holy crap, like I'm just really aware, and that all that stuff that I was attributing to me and my own head and my own imagination. And I mean, growing up, I was accused of being sensitive, like, oh my gosh, you're so sensitive. I had a nickel for every time someone said that to me.
I'm sure you're not the only one
I
that
know.
does that in their life.
Yeah, and that was always so frustrating to me because I was like, I don't even know what that means.
Mm,
This is just how I experience the world. And I think there are so many people that are quote unquote sensitive. And so the bars is such a gift to being able to, um, I don't know, like take it easy on yourself, like you're really, really aware in a very chaotic, loud world, and very few things give you a break. And for me, bars, whether I'm gifting them or I'm laying down and receiving them, give me a break. And it's such a gift.
yeah.
So, I know that Gaia and I both, I know you, I mean, for me, I have the target of doing a lot more classes in my local area this year, and I think that you have that same target, and that's partly why we wanted to come on here and just have this conversation because, you know, there's there's so many things out there that you can choose. Like that's one of the things I think that's changed in the world so dynamically is that there are different things now that you can choose for wellness, for taking care of your body, taking care of your nervous system and all those things. And
And listen,
again,
it's all required, like taking care
yeah,
of like the nervous system, the stress, like, even if you are maybe very relaxed most of the time, we are still in a world where there is a lot of stress. So
yeah,
whatever you can do for you or even for other people, just to kind of like release this and, take it easy. You say take it easy and, and bring ease. This is
yeah,
amazing for that. Yeah.
totally. I don't know anyone who isn't stressed.
I get
I don't
stressed
think
too.
those people exist. I'm sorry. I don't think those people exist. But that's probably like one of the and we'll wrap up here shortly, but like bars is one of those things that enhances anything you're doing.
Mm.
You know, it can go along with anything you're doing. It's not an either or thing. You know, like you can, you know, there's lots of different things that I do to take care of myself and my body, and bars I have added to the toolbox. And, you know, I personally just love to facilitate so that other people have the opportunity and possibility that I have had. Um, and I just love facilitating. It's so wonderful to watch people come to a class. And really, everyone comes into a bars class and they're like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. Like, I don't really know what we're doing. You kind of have an idea, but you don't. And that's how I was. I hadn't even had my bars run when I first went to a bars class, because the closest class for me when I first found this modality was in Seattle, which is about a 4.5 hour drive. So I just went to the class. So my first bars class and my first bars session were one and the same. You can, if you just want to try out bars. I know there's bars practitioners all over the world, and you can book a session just to receive bars and see, you know, what it creates for you. Or you can do what I did, just find a bars class in the world and just
That's
jump in.
really cool because you do get to receive twice and
Yeah.
give twice. And I'm like, sometimes I, even myself, like after facilitating this class for the last 10 years, I still go to other people's classes because sometimes I forget to take the time to run, to get my bars run. And I'm like, oh, there's a class going on. I'm going to go because I'm booking that full day for me and I'm going to receive the bars and give them and meet amazing people as well. And I'm
Exactly.
like, and I like it. So,
Me
yeah.
too. And just to see people be able to lay down, and they really truly, and this isn't like rhetoric, but people leave different. They leave changed. They like their whole countenance changes. They're more, you know, they're softer and they have more space. And, you know, that's often what people see. Like, actually, I don't like to tell people, well, this is what you're going to notice, because I want them to have their own experience. But I think what a lot of times people notice is that they just don't have the same response to the world and to people as they did before. Things don't, like, you know, they don't have the same reaction. You can't stop life from being what it is. And so if you can have this to be with you through all of what life brings you, it just softens the edges and gives you so much more space. So Gaia and
Totally.
I, yeah, we just want to
I
invite you.
do, I do want to add just one word
Yeah.
that I also witness at the end of the day is joy and laughter.
Yes.
That's, I mean, I because I get what you're saying with like not wanting to say too much because so everyone can just have their own experience and not
Yeah.
already saying this.
Yeah.
But the joy and the laughter, I don't think I haven't seen it in someone at the end of the day. Like,
Yes. I
and I'm
agree.
always like, yeah, and me too. I'm always more joyful at the end of the day of facilitating a bars class than I was in the morning. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Totally. It's that my husband always says that to me. He's like, I could always tell when you have facilitated because you're so much happier. And it's true. And it's not a mental thing. It's just like you just have much more access to happiness and being happy. So I love that.
Mm.
So yeah. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed this, and
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 you're more
you know,
joyful after
you
listening
can
to all this.
exactly. You can look Gaia and I up personally, and or you can also go to the Access Consciousness website and look for bars practitioners and facilitators near you. And please, 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 please give it a shot. Like, this is one of the things that I am so grateful for in my life. And um, I think if everyone was getting their bars run, we would live in a different world. So how does it get better than this?
And
And
this
thank
is
you, Gaia, for coming on with
around.
me today.
Yeah, thank you. It's very fun. Thank you for having me, being with you. Thank you.
Yeah. We will talk to you all soon. Thank you very much for being here, and enjoy your day.